So, I shot a video for this, and as usual, because YouTube and iMovie and all that jazz doesn't necessarily want to work, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I need one of you friggin' nerds to come over here and help me out with this YouTube thing with my Mac. Anywho, so in discussions Friday night with my former, with one of my former bandmates, Roy Robichaux, we were talking about, the scene and all that jazz around St. John and surrounding areas. So I wanted to talk about that and the one venue that really brings us, honestly, the most happiness to, live music goers and bands and all that. And that's the Panic Room. The Panic Room has been a home to me since 2015. March 6th of 2015 is when Jason Golding, proprietor, owner, man behind countless hours of putting together shows and jams for bands and really taking care of the scene as a whole. It was, the page, like I said, was created on March 6th, and first show was held March 21st. So the three main guys behind this is Jason Golding himself, Art Graham, and Shane Story. Now, there's many other staff, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So this is an underground live music venue where people can go to obviously catch live shows, when that's a thing. Jams, certain times it's a thing. There's only one band that's really practicing there. And just be around great like-minded individuals and see, enjoy some of the best local music, out of town stuff, bands from, Ontario and Quebec and, even further out west, though, those ones who plan and are able to get a tour down here and get something decent going, and not have to worry about struggling to find other venues like it around. And the cost of the show is usually running about $10 to $15, and sometimes it's higher. And I'll use the Cancer Bats as a perfect example of that. I think theirs was like $25 or something like that to get in. Now, that was an actual ticket. In most cases, if you were to go check out a few local bands, maybe one or two from St. John, then a couple out of towners, you're looking at just $10 to $15 at the door. Which, to be honest, for what you're going to get in terms of entertainment, you can bring your own, it's a BYOB kind of thing. There are some rules that you just have to abide by. As long as you abide by those rules, you'll always be welcome back, and you're a good human being and not a shitbag. That's really the main way to get invited into the family, as it were, into the to the New Brunswick hardcore. So the staff, as I said earlier, you have Shane Story, Art Graham, and Jason Golding. The three main guys behind the whole ordeal, because, Jay was like, I think it was one of these things where he wanted a place to go watch bands. And for a while, before it became the Panic Room, it was a place for a band called Rise of Valhalla just to go up and jam. And then, of course, friends would go up and hang out and enjoy the jam sessions. And then they just decided, let's make this a music venue. So, as I said, with those three guys, there are many others that do some amazing things. Caitlin Smith, Tara Abbott, Richard, Ron, Phil, the McNabb brothers, the McNabb Three, we can call them. They can start a band and call themselves that. Josh Cottrell, Elevate the Virus. They're pretty much, I wouldn't call them the house band, but they're the band that tends to be there. They jam there. They play there quite a lot. And why not? When you're a great band like they are, hey, it works. Amy Giannette, Melissa Albert, and Wade Wilson, better known as Dead Poop 420, but a lot of people just call him Dead Poop because it's just hilarious. Wade's a great dude, love him to death, and probably the last guy that makes that place go around and really makes the shows go off well is Wes Harris. Sound man extraordinaire. If you've ever been to the Panic Room and Wes is standing up and Wes is behind the booth, you're gonna sound really freaking good. That guy does some. He works miracles, and he takes care of everybody. Makes sure the sound check is good, everything's set up, ready to go, and he's very smart and he knows what he's doing. And there's no one else I would put better to sit behind there. I mean, there's a couple guys, but I don't think they really go to the Panic Room. The bands. Now, of course, while I can sit here and waffle on like a weirdo about this whole, listing every band has played, jammed, whatever, or even gone to a show, supported other bands, I'd be here all day. I don't have that kind of time. Essentially, you do have access to probably one of the best sound men that I've actually ever dealt with. He knows what he's doing. He's built his own booth, essentially. He spent countless hours making cables, setting up the room for the best sound, making sure he has the best equipment. If it's not at the Panic Room, he's gone and he's gotten sub from my boys at Port City. He's also built a great working relationship with them. He works very well with Jay and everybody else in the building. He's just a top-notch dude, and he's an extremely smart individual as well. This is kind of the kiss Jay. Well, I wouldn't say kiss Jay's ass, but more or less kiss Wes's ass, because hey, if you want to sound good, he's the guy to deal with. And yeah, and as they always say, you don't treat your sound man like a bag of crap. As soon as you do, well, guess what? You're gonna sound like garbage. And this is very true. Not very many bands have gone and played at the Panic Room and have sound better, if you want my true honest opinion. Now, aside from that wizardry, and apologies for the yawn, I'm trying not to, but it's been a long day. Jay not only gets the best bands to play in the venue, whether it's out of town, bigger name acts, he's always putting a local band on the bill, because it gives those local bands a chance for further exposure. They get exposed to the bigger bands, and the bigger bands talk about that to other people. And not only that, but if you're a band out of town or even local, be it in St. John and Freddie, Moncton, or even Nova Scotia for that matter, that's still semi-local. He has a food spread. Like, you go into the kitchen, and usually there's the counter, the first part of the counter, which has got some people sitting there drinking beer, watching the show. That's also where they take the money, the door money. The fridge is right there. And then you have from finger foods to cheese trays to chips to dips and salsas, and you got slow cooker. He even in the spring, summer, and the fall, and I think even in the wintertime, but it was like once or twice, he fires up the barbecue. Chickens and steaks and all of that good stuff you get at a barbecue. Hot dogs. Don't forget the spaghetti bags. That's the thing, chef. He just takes care of everyone. And I know he gets a lot of love from the bands, but he doesn't get enough love from certain people. You really, especially with all of this going on, Jay should be the man you should really thank. And just give him some love. You know what I mean? Like, when he puts out a post about bands, or live streams from different bands, just share it, give them the extra little bit of love. And you know what? I'm guilty of not doing that. And I think in this day and age, with the amount of things that I've seen over the last year and a half of venues closing, I think this would be an absolute destroyer of worlds for so many bands, for so many people. If that place actually shut the doors for good, I think that would be an absolute tragedy, and I really hope they don't. And Jay and I spoke briefly last night because I had to ask him a few questions. Not a lot of people said, "Oh, this won't last 6 months." It's going on 6 years this year. literally next month, in one month, and like, what, I think today's what, the 6th, February 7th, basically, like, just under a month, basically, this will be 6 years old. And honestly, for a guy who's put as much time, money, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, I think the next time you're able to see Jay in person and actually go see me, you need to give the man a big fucking hug and a big fucking smooch. Unless he tells you to fuck off. And I mean, that's fine. I just wave my hand, maybe a fist bump or whatever. Just show the guy some love in some way, shape, or friggin' form. He never takes a dime from the door. He doesn't even know what the door takes. Like, ever. I don't think he really cares. This is an ability for him to watch his favorite bands play. He has a few cocktails. He has a hell of a time. And he always, always, always supports the bands in any way, shape, or form that he can. Because that's the best part about Jason. And if you ever get the chance to play out east again, I suggest you look him up, and I suggest you look up the Panic Room, and I suggest you get yourself booked the next time that we can have a live gig. I've used both this new location. Well, new, I mean, I guess it's been around for about a year or so. And the Uptown location as well. To play shows, to hang, to jam with my bands. And really, it's been excellent. You go in, you got house gear, you plug in, you play, you rehearse, you jam, you write songs, and you do whatever. And then, you have the ability to do what you need to do. Support your local bands. I cannot stress this enough. Because if we don't support the scene, we have nothing. And I think now more than ever, we need that. Especially when it comes to live music. Whenever that may be. And I think at the end of the day, I just honestly think we really need to support it more and more and more and more. $10-15 isn't a bad price, to be absolutely honest. For several bands, hanging out with your friends, and you have the ability to bring your own beer. I mean, if you go out and buy a case of beer or whatever, and you go and you pay $10 to get in, I mean, how many times would you actually go to a bar, pay your cover charge, and then spend probably about $40-50 on liquor, and you don't even get half of what you want? Support your local venues, support your local promoters, give him all the love you can. Because without that, we're nothing. So boys and girls, ladies and gents out at the Panic Room, everybody I listed above, thank you so very much for helping Jay allow him to get things done. Thank you for helping him to get this going and to keep bands coming time and time again, and that we have shows. If it wasn't for you guys, we essentially wouldn't have what we have today. Keep it metal, rock, whatever you love. Cheers, guys.